Hello, gamers, and welcome to another episode on the Ignitor SMP. My name is Dark, and we are at our mega base here, starting off the episode where we left off last time. We built ourselves a pretty enormous new entrance to our base, so we've been continuing to work on this for some time, and this whole entrance area has been revamped. We've done tons of texturing in the walls, added all of these new towers and buildings all the way around the outside, and solidified the entrance to our base here. But we want to control this environment a little bit more. Today, we're going to be putting a lid on this place. And that lid is going to be made of skulk. We're going to need lots and lots of skulk. Why skulk, you ask? Well, it's a nice dark material, and it's got that kind of special sparkly texture to it. It's really nice. I quite like it, and it's insta-mine and just fun to use. And I think it'll be more interesting than just a plain blanket, like mud or blackstone or something like that. So yeah, I think it's going to create a nice bit of texture, and it will form a cap over the entire thing, pretty much putting the mountain back how it was originally. Now we can't leave a mountain with just skulk look on top. It's going to look weird, right, from the outside. The intention is to hide our entire base inside the mountain. So once we have the lid on this, that's going to form what is the inside layer of the mountain. Then we're going to put the outside layer back on. We're going to re-terraform this. We're going to change some of the cliff faces probably because we built right out onto the edges and beyond in some places. So we're going to re-terraform the mountain and put a lid and terraform the top of it and make it look invisible, so our base cannot really be seen from the outside. That was always the intention, to make it look like it was hollowed out from the inside, not this bathtub approach of carpet bombing the entire thing and taking all of this material out, including the roof. We want to make it look like the civilization burrowed inside the mountain and dug out the entire insides. That's the sort of lore and the objective behind it all. And today, we're going to take the first step to making that happen. So before we get any more into that on the server, what we're going to do is hop over to a creative world and we're going to experiment a little bit with what this is going to look like in reality and try to figure out the shape and size of what we're trying to pull off here. So this here is a pretty empty version of our seed. There's my starter base. This is a world I used before anything else was here. Look at spawn. There's nothing there. The whole shopping district covers this area today. Anywho, this is my mountain, the mountain of my base, before I built anything on it at all. And I've got a cat. It really wants a lap. Come here, puss. And yes, in this world, in using Axiom, just gone into this interface and we've been able to, just go around and paint the world as we want. So yeah, using a big old brush like this, you can go around the world and just sort of paint in entire areas. So that's what we've done here. We painted over the top of this entire mountain. And what we're going to do is hollow this out. I want to try and just end up with this skulk cap, essentially, that I can take into Lightmatica and capture the schematic and sort of paste it into the world we currently have to see where it aligns to the existing edges of the mountain that we have blown up on the server. Now, I've never done this in Axiom before, but I think there's some sort of selection tools we can play around with in order to be able to select the whole mountain somehow and then run a hollow command. Yeah, this is looking good. I can use this bounding box selection tool to just select the entire mountain, just make sure it's all encompassed. That's looking good. And then there's an operation we can run here just called hollow, just like that. And yeah, lighting updates are taking place. I'm guessing that means it's done. Let's have a little peek inside. Oh yeah, check that out. The mountain is hollowed out. That's awesome. Obviously there's tons of like tunnels and things that were inside the mountain already, so we need to tidy those up because we don't want any of that. So I think I'm going to go around now and sort of manually brush all of those out of existence and patch up some of the holes. And there we go. We've totally cleared this place out. There's still a little bits to tidy up here and there, but we get a really good idea of the shape and size of this roof, and boy is it dark without any lights. But yeah, we are at the stage now, I think, where we can take a schematic of this and try putting it into a world with our actual mountain and base in situ and see how things line up. Okay, this is a different creative world I use. This is where I do a lot of my base planning and designing in creative, and we're going to just plonk our schematic on top of this. So we're just going to get lined up here in the corner, load our schematic in place. And there we go. Look at that. That is lined up, done a bit of tweaking and adjustment here to try and get it in situ in place. And that looks pretty cool. There's clearly some areas where we're going to need to, the base pops out above it here. So we're going to need to sort that out and figure out a way to sort of extend the roof up and around what we've already built. That was expected, and extend it down the side here. We're going to need to re-terraform a lot of this area of the mountain. But overall, this is looking good. So we're just going to double check our paste behavior here, because we don't want to replace anything in situ. Replace none. Perfect. Yep. Okay. Well, then I think we're good. We're going to just paste away and see what happens. There it goes. Okay. It's still rendering in, and it looks like it's done. Nice. All right. We need to have a little peek inside again, and we need to see how this has generally sort of aligned to what we had in place. So we know that it's dark, isn't it? Crikey. We know we've chopped off tops of buildings over there we need to go and take care of. There's little bits of land over here we can probably just remove and clean up. So I'm going to do some of these sort of cleanup bits and tidy this up a little bit and extend it over the top of these builds. And yeah, we'll check back in once that's done. So this is what the mountain looks like with the entire skulk cap put on top and all the little holes patched up. Just pop inside. You can see, get the idea of what this is going to look like on the ground from inside. So this gives us an idea of what it's going to be like. Yeah, I'm liking it. It does mean we can't fly out of here like we used to. I'm used to just flying out of here because there's a giant open hole. It means we're going to prioritize working on the door. But the next thing is to figure out, we need to take a schematic of this and only the skulk. So I'm going to go into here. We're going to use the painter tool. I'm going to make a mask and paint with air and get rid of everything except for the skulk. Okay, I made that happen by yeah, taking out all the other land around it. And you can see we pretty much just got the skulk cap on here, a whole bunch of floating rubbish. Got rid of a lot of stuff, but you can see exactly what's in some of these buildings, or what was, as it got deleted. So yeah, this is it. I'm going to use the lanterns to align the position on where the buildings are and where the lanterns sit on the buildings in order to get the right position of this thing. We can ignore the other floating debris, and we should be able to get a count for the total number of blocks we're going to need to pull this off. Okay, let's head over to the server now and see what this is going to take to put in situ. Okay, we are in survival, back on the server, and I brought in the schematic you can see here, and let us just have a little hop around. This is what it's going to look like when it's on top. We've used those soul lanterns to successfully align this to exactly where we need it to be, and it gives us a really good impression of what it's going to be like when this thing's on top, and also what we've got to remove. So we've got to take out some of this excess material at the top here and around the back just to make this all congruently attach. And if we go into here, we should be able to see the sculk blocks needed. So we're going to need 22,500 sculk blocks, 13 shulker boxes. Yee! Not as many as I was thinking, actually. But we definitely don't have 13 shulker boxes of skulk. In fact, I think we've barely got any. Let's have a look. See, we did go through the ancient city that one time, which enabled us to pick up some. 1, 2 and a bit shulker boxes. Not enough. So, therein lies our first problem to solve. There is a shop on the server specifically for this. The giant warden over here. And it was maintained by a member who has since left, but has been taken over again, and I believe it's stocked. How much is this? It's going to be expensive, right? Skulk blocks, 1 diamond per stack. Yes. That would be somewhere in the region of 300 diamonds to buy as much skulk as we need, and they simply don't have it. I don't think Black Shadow took this over, and because he's living in a ancient city now, so all of the skulk they've got is manually harvested. I just don't think they're going to have. How many more shulkers do we need? 11 more shulkers of skulk on hand. There's 2 shulkers there, so we would need to buy them out 6 times in order to get the amount we need. So, I think we're going to have to make a farm. That is exactly what we're going to do next. That is the mission for today. To create the farm, to get the skulk, to put on top of a mountain. And to make this gigantic thing loading in now a reality. So how do we make a skulk farm? Well, skulk can be generated if you have a catalyst nearby and a whole lot of XP caused from mob deaths. The skulk will spread. It'll just spread everywhere and generate all the other associated skulky stuff along with it. There needs to be a natural block, something like stone, right underneath us here. So all we really need to make this work is a mob farm, where we drop the mobs down onto a stone generator, and all that stone will get converted to skulk and we can harvest it up. So that's the plan. And I think the best, or probably easiest way to do this from a farming perspective, and just to get tons and tons of mobs and XP bashing into this thing, is going to be a guardian farm. So we're going to head out into the world. We're going to find a quiet area of the server where we're going to be able to find a undisturbed ocean temple. And from there, we're going to put in place a pretty straightforward guardian farm, on top of which we're going to build the collection system for the skulk stuff. And I think we're best plotting this out in a creative world first. So I've already done a little bit of work in advance of this, but I've got a bit of a problem to figure out, and I'm going to take you there right now so that we can figure out how to resolve that problem together. Welcome back to my testing world. So we've come out into an area where we know no one's been recently, and we found ourselves a ocean temple full of guardians, and we have put on top of it an ENX04 guardian farm design. These are pretty straightforward. All you need to do is build one of these platforms above it with scaffolding and portals, and underneath you put in this soul sand that just pushes all the guys up. And everything else is about finding a AFK spot so that only this corner of the guardian farm is loaded. And that is about putting a thing up in the air. It doesn't usually look like that. This is my crazy contraption, and I'm going to show you where I'm at with it and what needs to change for us to be able to put this on the Ignitor SMP server. So what is this monstrosity, you ask? Let me run you through what it is that it's doing today, what I've added, and what I'm going to change with you on camera now. So the Guardians go through the portals down there over the temple, and they're going to pop out here. Let's go into the nether side, actually, because on the nether side, on the roof, they come through here, and we have this box, and it's just full of scaffolding. And sitting on top is an ether hopper clock with a timer, and as far as I'm aware, that the scaffolding is inside to prevent entity cramming going on. So they're going to flood in here until they hit mob cap, and then the timer is just flipping on these fence gates, and that stops them from passing back through and allows the timer on entering through the portal to expire, so they can head on back through and come back to us on the overworld. And then they come out of here. I've raised this a little bit higher because I needed it to be, and in the original ENX04 design they just come down here, and he had a whole very different collection system up here just based on hoppers and chests, and we ripped all that out and done our own thing. So what did we do here? We built a minecart yeeting system. So we got minecarts with hoppers collecting all the drops from the killing chamber up above. Once they hit a certain capacity of items inside, they automatically go off along this rail track. They yeet themselves into this water stream, and the items go into storage system. The carts themselves, they get yeeted and they get recycled back. We capture them here and they go up the water spout, and they get recycled back into the dispensers ready for the next round. Underneath here we have a pretty fancy shulker box loading system, so we're just making sure we've got enough of the item filter channels hooked up to these guys, and the shulkers of collected items will get dispensed underneath and sent back up to the very top. Now, obviously the intention of this was to make a skulk farm, so that's what this second piece is over here. So this is a stone generator platform, just basic lava over flowing water scenario with the pistons on a timer, and it's pushing everything out. It takes a little while for the stone to form because you've got to wait for the lava to drop. But it is what it is, and yeah. We need to get the mobs falling on this platform. So I also modified everything above us and put in a little bit of a switch. And that switch will pull some pistons out, push others in, and make sure water is flowing out. So we're changing the drop point and pushing them over so that they fall directly on the platform. Then all we need to do is stand in situ, and we need to break the skulk blocks, and the stone will reform and get turned back into skulk, and rinse and repeat. underneath the stone gem platform, we've just got an array of more shulker yeeters, and we've got this funky little shulker loader refilling array here. So this is, I'm pretty pleased with this. This is the autocrafter shulker thing from my base that I already have in place for bulk storage. You put in shulkers of shulker shells here, you put in shulkers of logs here. Those unload into the crafters. We craft the logs into planks, the planks into chests, the chests combine with the shells to create shulkers, which end up over here. Then we've got this minecart sitting here. So this guy is going to turn the autocrafter on and off. So when it's not full, it's going to be crafting, and when it falls, it turns the crafter off. So when the minecart is in place and full, it triggers its side of the redstone. We've got an AND gate in the middle here, and on the other side, we have a bunch of comparators reading off of these hoppers that lead into the shulker loaders. So when that hopper runs out of shulkers, it turns the torch on and triggers the other side of the AND gate, sending the minecart on its way. It goes and delivers everything it can, it comes back, restocks, and if it still needs to go out, it'll keep doing so until all of those hoppers are full. And yeah, then it'll turn off the crafter. I'm pretty happy with that. So we don't have minecarts running, we don't have crafters going, it's all just on demand. So what I came to realize is, obviously the Guardians are dying and, you know, turning stone into Sculk, but because they're dying, we're still getting the drops from the Guardians at the same rate we would in the other half of the farm. I made this farm to sort of be flippable between Prismarine and Sculk, but ultimately I don't need that to happen. The Sculk farm will do both. I don't really need a Prismarine farm anyway, but I may as well collect those drops while I'm at it. Why not? And yeah, so this whole Prismarine collection side of things and making it flippable isn't needed. So what I'm going to do is actually remove this whole half of the farm. We're going to take it out and just make it focused on the Sculk half, and we're going to get everything we're going to need from just that part of the farm itself. So that's what we're going to look at right now. I'm going to attempt to take you on a bit of the creative process, at least a slice of it, to show you what we're going to do in order to make this farm be exactly what we want it to be before we put it in place on the server. So we're going to start off by removing a lot of this, and then we're going to focus on optimizing the Sculk farm part to make it as efficient as possible. Right, now we've cleared out the way. Next thing is, yeah, we want to preserve this part of the farm here, the item return. So we're actually going to use Axiom and push it out of the way for the time being, and we can pull that part back in later. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is take this whole Sculk platform stone generator thing, and we're going to shift it back over so it's underneath the original tunnel design. So we're just going to use Axiom again for that. Get our alignment just right. That should probably do it about there. Let's just connect the item collection system back up. Then out where they come from the portal, we're just going to widen it so it's a little bit wider. We want the spread pattern to be a little wider now over the top of the stone, and we can probably just extend it a bit further, but then chop off the rest of this glass, because I don't think we need the whole tunnel, and it's maybe just a waste of material. Yeah, the alignment of them falling looks pretty good. Then we can just grab this item shulker box return station for the collected shulker loaded items and connect that back up to the farm output, and we should be good. I do want to find a way to connect this switch to turn the stone gen on and off. I want to make it also via the minecart yeeter system at the back here, so at the moment it's just pulsing this and there's a lock to turn it on off, so I think I can replicate that using the same switch. Yeah, so I've just extended the line out here, and off the back of that we've got this torch which will power this piston and separate the line from the timer and extend out the power signal all the way to the end there. I do wonder about the capacity of this thing. I wonder if I can get more items out of it if I make the stone generator better. This is super basic, right? It is very simple. It's a single layer. Pretty sure I can make this double layer, at least, maybe triple. And because of the nature of Sculk and the volume of mobs forming through, I reckon I can get way more Sculk out of this than I'm getting with this single layer, basically, in each wave that drops down from above us here. So that's what we're going to do here next. So I'm actually going to remove this side completely. Yeah, I think this will work. So we've got a basic stone gen there, like a 3-level thing. I've actually made it slightly wider here, so it should go over our heads. We should get extra right here. So if I just remove a bunch of this stone here, we should fall out of the sky. That should send a signal up here, which should pulse this, pulse all of these, all of the pistons in here get pulsed, and everything nudges along, fills in. That's looking good. Okay, so in Axiom, we can use the clone tool. Make a duplicate of this over here. We can move it again afterwards. And I think we can Command F and flip it on that axis, and it's just flipped it around, which is great. And then cancel that. We can take out this. Okay, that's cleared out the old stuff. Let's move in the new and confirm. Finish. Oh, I cloned instead of I needed to move. I didn't mean to clone. That's 2, 4, 16. Yep, confirm. Yoink. All right. If we turn this on for the minute, get the clock going. We should see this pulsing. Didn't work. These need to be on a slightly longer delay there. Actually get a signal up. There we go. Stone gens are working. Just realized this level isn't going to be useful for us. This line here, because it's not pushing anyway. I don't know why it's no longer pushing, but there's no collection system underneath, and I can't hit over there from standing here anyway. So, okay, you go there, get rid of that water source, get rid of that piston, get rid of that stone block, and then cover that over. I think we're good. So, if we remove a whole bunch of this in the middle, a sort of random pattern, like so, if we turn this farm on, that should all just fill in, right? It should keep filling in. Interesting, it doesn't do that centerpiece. I wonder why that is. Is that the push limit? 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. So what we probably need to do, let's just turn this off so nothing breaks, is we're going to move. Okay, grab this whole thing. We're going to shift it one that way. And confirm. Need to fix the weird blocky stuff right here. Okay, one more. Perfect. So it's shorter on this side because it's asymmetrical. That's fine. All right, so we're gonna take a schematic of this just in case it's good before it gets messed up with Sculk. In fact, I'll go duplicate the world. That'll be easier. Just do a test of this and see if the mobs coming down all still die now that they're 2 blocks higher. Number 1, and number 2, that this triple layer thing actually works. Here they come. Nice. Okay, so now we're cooking with gas. We should be collecting Sculk like crazy now, and other things. Triple the Sculk. Check it out. That's pretty great. They're all still dying at the right height. That's fantastic. All right, I like this. We should be able to get rid of most of this Sculk here, just in time for the next wave to come flooding on in. My goodness. Isn't this just crazy? That is a lot of Sculk. Did the Sculk mess anything up? Oh, it turned to sand. No way. It reached all the way up here. We may need to change where that is. Okay. Right, let's hope the signal doesn't get that far. Sculk spread. It's got as far as this block. All the way around here. Oh my goodness. Oh no. I was just tick sprinting for a whole day to see how robust this is. It still reaches all the way out here. You can see even the Sculk veins come as far as this, so I think we need to get out here. Let's, if we can get as far as here, that seems to be the limit of the Sculk reach. So the sand block needs to go here. We need to rethink this. Okay, we sprinted, yeah, for a whole day. This didn't shift, didn't change. It seems like we're right at the limit of how far the skulk can spread there. It came all the way to here. This must be the limit. I'm confident that's not going to change. And even if it does, when we actually use it, we can just shift this out one further. But no need to make it any bigger than it needs to be. That seems to be suitable. So from this last observer, we're talking it needs to be 5 blocks away. All right, let's go to the clean version of this farm without skulk all over it and make that modification. Nice. That seems to be working and in place. Both of those should be far enough away now that they're not going to get skulkified. And I'm confident this should work pretty well in situ on the server in survival. Awesome. Thanks for coming on that journey with me. That was a bit of fun working it out. So let's go over to the server now and put this in situ. All right, so we're back here on the server and we've done the very initial part of our farm build here. Let's just zip on over and show you. So this is just a temporary portal where we entered to get to the ocean monument. We have the farm. The portals are not lit yet, but we have the soul sand underneath. We can't see the particles. That's fine. And yeah, that is where they're all going to be spawning. Once we light them, they'll be flying through to the nether side. And over here is where we are standing. This is where we're going to build the rest of the farm. And if we put in our schematic, we can see it way up in the sky there. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to head all the way up there and start putting in the very fundamentals of what we just built in Creative. Up here on the nether roof, we have put in place the little guardian box with the ether hot clock on top that's just going to be switching the fence gates and letting the guardians come through here on a timer. And we've made ourselves another little portal out here on the nether roof to be able to get to this farm easily enough without disrupting the others. Okay, so last thing to do here, I'm going to add a bit of lava in the collection system. Around the back here. Oh, it's actually rained. Look at that. We've got to get that out of there. This is all got to be lava. I think the only thing left to do is the slightly treacherous part. That is lighting the portals down here in this part of the Guardian farm. So we're going to light, keep moving, light, and keep moving, and get the heck out of here. Woohoo! Portals are lit. Yes, that's not good. Oh my goodness, did you see that? Look at this. I actually just diagnosed this problem with vid. Apparently my my portal that I use is a little too close. It's too close to the Guardian farm. It's closer than the one up here. So one of the portal frames from the actual Ocean Temple is sending them down to the floor there. We need to do something about that. We're going to move our portal. Okay, I'm just going to go log on my alt and leave him in the nether, and that should enable us to use this farm properly for the first time. Glorious, glorious. Look at all this skulk. This is absolutely fantastic. The farm is working exactly as we hoped. The items are getting collected. Doesn't look like anything's getting burned. Everything is getting picked up as far as I can tell. So we're going to just press ahead. We are going to plow through this skulk. We've got quite a few hoes with us at the moment, but I imagine we're going to need to go and heal those or create some more because we're going to burn through them pretty quick. Let's stock up on some shulkers of skulk. Okay. Wow, this has been going well. I think we probably got enough of the skulky materials to do what we need to do now. Let's take a little pause from doing this. Let's turn the collection system off for the time being. and have a quick look at what we gathered. Alright, so here's our output. We have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 shulkers of skulkers. We've got a lot of prismarine here and prismarine crystals as well. Pretty awesome. So we're going to take all of that back with us and yeah, leave this farm for another day. And we are back at base, and yes, we have put everything into storage. So we've got all our prismarine bits and pieces all here, and all the skulk ready to go, which is this one here. Cool. So we're going to take the majority of this out, actually. Next task is this guy. So we're going to put the lid on, I keep calling it the lid, but the roof, the inside roof on this thing. We're going to take out all of this material here first, all these little bits and pieces, and clear the way for the skulk, and then layer the skulk over the top. Ta-da! Check it out. We have a roof, and it's made of skulk, and it's everywhere. The entirety of our mega base mountain is now covered, and it looks glorious. I absolutely love it. So good. And yes, it is very dark in here. We do have gamma on currently, and that's fine. Let's just turn that off for a second. Yeah. This is the thing we wanted to test because we want it we do want it dark and gloomy, but we've also got so much beautiful building in here. We don't want the details to be lost. So we have a task of lighting this place differently. We're going to put in lots of hidden lighting, as well as lots of visible lighting. At the moment, the lighting was done to make it spawn proof, right? Absolutely everywhere in this entire place is spawn proof. Ignore those, that's a wall. Yeah, and that is good, but we need to change the way this looks to make it more lit in a way that we want it. We also have been playing with our brightness down low. It's at 50%, so we could like whack it up, you know, and change the brightness level in game, which we may have to do a little bit, but even still, look, it is dingy, and we want to get more even lighting all over the place. There's a couple of places where it works really well. This works great. This is kind of what we're aiming for, but we need this level of lighting in a few more places. Overall, very, very happy indeed. I can't wait to continue working on this and make this bigger, better, and brighter. So, what is next? Well, the obvious thing would be, if we pop outside for a minute and look at this from the outside. It's nighttime outside. As you can see, we've got a bit of a problem because obviously we haven't lit up the outside. Inside is spawn proof, outside is clearly not. And if any of these pop off, the creepers go off, we're going to lose some skulks. So we need to do something about that, and we need to make this look good because at the moment it's just a big kind of a dark green splodge on the landscape, right? We need to turn this into a mountain again, make it seamless and integrated and beautiful to look at from the outside. That is definitely something we intend to do. However, it may not be the very next thing we do because, as I mentioned earlier, the way I've been getting in and out of my base is literally just to fly up and out. Can't do that anymore. We've got the portal, of course, and we have a exit stage rear at the back here. We need to tidy that up when we do the landscaping as well. But we don't have like a front door. All we have right now is this temporary thing I put in, which is a 1x2 doorway going from the outside. Let me sleep quickly. Yeah, this little gap on the outside isn't much of a front door. We want to make an entrance, a really impressive looking entrance, and something we can actually fly through and get in and out of our base with ease, whilst also looking closed and impressive. So we've got a lot of room to play with here. That's going to be the next challenge. Knowing me, I will probably put off the landscaping for a little bit and concentrate on convenience over aesthetics for the meantime, and we'll get back to the aesthetics shortly after. And then after that, we can continue to work on the rest of the base here and put in more buildings now that we have this beautifully contained environment. Okay, so mission accomplished. That is going to do it for me for today. If you liked what we did here in this episode, then give us a like. And if you want to see more and all the things we just talked about, please subscribe. And we'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. You take care for now. Bye-bye.